Well, this is Let Us Interrupt You, aka Let Mr. Olive interrupt you here on Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. It was a pretty long day for me, not gonna lie. I get home, I think my day's gonna get a lot better, and instead it was more chaos, of course. I had people cutting my grass who probably shouldn't even cut my grass to begin with because it looks like it's gonna rain. So freaking pointless. And it wasn't even a bi-weekly schedule for them. They came too early. And not only that, but the grass wasn't even grown out just yet. And on top of all that, literally trying to start my podcast just now. That took me about 25 minutes. All just to find out that my video never made the freaking stream because of a copyright issue. You know, so this is all I gotta say this about YouTube. If something is not copyright infringement, and I'm letting you know it's not mine and all that, it's used for entertainment purposes, and all these people can use these videos to put their stuff on with this kind of music playing, it should not be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue to the point where you can't even have people view the video, because now I'm getting messages left and right. Either I just got home from a 10-hour shift at work that no one saw the video this past weekend because of a copyright issue with your end, which, of course, no surprise, YouTube basically just didn't allow the video to air because the fact of the matter is they don't want me to use music that I didn't create my own. When in reality, I've been trying to create music on here through YouTube, through their programming, and unfortunately, it doesn't even make the air because that's how great freaking YouTube really is with everything. And it's a YouTube issue because I've seen people use Chromebooks all the time and use edit platforms and get on their freaking thing, create their freaking webpage, and it's not a problem. This, on the other hand, has always been a problem because YouTube, for whatever reason, is just acting like a scumbag right now at this point. So I'm not really in a good mood today. NBA Finals were not last night, 2 nights ago. I just realized I didn't review Game 1. By the way, the Joker went off in that game. It was a lot better showing in that game. Murray had about 25 points in that game. I want to say the Joker had 35 points. 20 had about 15 assists. I think he had like over 21 rebounds in that game as well. The final score of that game was 104-93. So there's my review for that one. I didn't review it on Sunday. And I just realized too, like today, I didn't even review Game 1 of the NBA Finals because the NBA Finals was on Sunday night. The Heat made it a series. They made it an interesting series. They played better in that game too than they did in Game 1. In fact, if you think about it, really, Miami should have won a hell of a lot more than what they did win in the game. They only won by 3. They won 111-108. Gabe Vincent had 23 points. The Joker had 41 points. Think about that one for a minute. Gabe Vincent had 23 points. Kevin Love, who started in this game, and I think that was kind of the reason why they kind of won this game. Now the more I even think about it, with his presence, it made a difference. Butler had 21 points. Adebayo had 21 points. Vincent had 23 points. Struss had 14 points. He actually had a better showing. He was 4 for 10 from 3-point range. That was really the only time he really shoot. He didn't really shoot in the paint either. Adebayo had 21 points. Butler had 21. Butler was 2 from 5 from 3. He was 7 from 19 in the game. Love was 2 from 9 in the game. He only had 6 points. Vincent was on fire. He had 8 to 12 shooting, 4 from 6 from 3, 23 points. He was the difference maker in this game. Without Gabe Vincent, this Heat team would be in trouble a little bit because there's no one that can pick up the slack other than Butler, and Butler's already tired himself out already. The Joker had 41 points in this game, had 4 assists, had 11 rebounds. That was the difference in this game. The less amount of assists you allow from the Joker, the better off you are because no one else is going to step up here with the assist game other than Jamal Murray. And that goes to show you because it combined Gordon, Murray, and the Joker, that's 16 assists right there combined from each team. Murray had 18 points. Eric Gordon had 12 points. He only had 7 rounds. Gordon. Murray only had 4. And Murray had a double-double in this game along with the Joker. And that's not good enough here in that game. Braun had 6 points. Brown had 11. And Jeff Green only had 9. They need more step-ups here from these guys. They need to do a hell of a lot more work. Green was 6 from 6, though, from the free throw in this game. So he was at the free throw line plenty of times here in the game. Came down the end with Jamal Murray missing a game-winning 3-point shot. That would have ended the game there. Actually would have gone the game in overtime. What am I saying? Would have never ended the game. It would have gone to overtime. But other than that, that was really about it in that game. I mean, if Murray would have hit that 3, Denver would have won the game. Murray's hot when he gets to shooting the 3-pointer in this game. and he hits it at the right time. Like if he can go in a game where he's 3 for 8 at a point in the game, and he's chucking up 3 or 4 more threes, that's where he start to get hot here. And I think because he didn't have a lot of opportunities last night, and that there was some point in the game where Denver didn't call a timeout for about 5 or 6 minutes in the game, just let the time click down, which I'm surprised Denver was able to get back because they were down as much as 12 in this game late in the fourth quarter. And the fact that Denver almost came back and forced overtime here by the fact they didn't take those 2 timeouts, they took a timeout when they were down by 9. I think it was either 8 or it was either 6 or 8. I can't remember what it was. It was the 3-minute mark, probably, right, or actually no, 5 to 6 minute mark in the fourth quarter. And at that point, I'm thinking in my head, well, the guys call another one. They didn't. And really, Denver in that ironically in that fourth quarter, at one point in the fourth quarter, they mentioned it was 29-12. Miami outscored the Nuggets in that game, and it ended up being 36-25. It really didn't matter at the end of the day. They were just off in this game. 3-point shooting wasn't that great. It wasn't bad either. The free throws in this game were hit or miss there. That was kind of the turning point in that game. Denver did everything they could. I think the difference in the end was the turnovers in this game and the amount of blocks that Miami had in this game. And they out-assist Denver a little bit, but not by much. I mean, Miami barely survived this game. I mean, this is all I got to tell you. Butler didn't have a hot hand. Adebayo had more good hands in this game. In fact, he became the Jimmy Butler in this game more than anything else. So did Vincent. And Miami just barely scraped out a win, even though they were up by 12 late in the fourth quarter. I can't figure out how a team that they basically pulled the Boston Celtics here and nearly won the game 2. Or nearly forced overtime. And they probably would have won game 2. Let's be realistic, because Miami was running out of steam late in that game. But yeah. So I guess give you the highlights for game 1 and game 2. There you go. Hockey was on last night, Stanley Cup Final. It was another slaying by the Knights. The Bruce Cassidy's adjustments at this point are exactly like Boston's. And I look back at it now. I regret what I said about hiring Bruce Cassidy in the first place. This is a guy that knows what he's doing. These players got mental toughness, a hell of a lot more toughness and a lot more grit than the Boston Bruins do. And it showed last night. I mean, you're scoring 7 points in this game at home. They Matthew Tatak took out Jack Eichel. I don't know if they're going to review that as a dirty hit at this point, if Tatak is not going to miss a game or two now. But that was it really didn't matter. The Golden Knights just completely spanked the Florida Panthers in this game. They exposed their defense. Florida's a really good team. But Vegas has got a different energy. I mean, this is probably one of the better number 1 teams I've seen in hockey in a while, as far as like mental toughness goes and grit. Colorado has got some grit. The toughness, I think, is a lot better than Vegas. There's a lot. I'd say Vegas has a lot more better mental toughness than Colorado did. That's all I gotta say. I mean, the fact that you can't even close out a game 5 against a series in your house against Tampa Bay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, they won the series last year, but I mean, as far as defense adjustments go, I mean, I don't know what to say here other than, Vegas has the team that could sweep the Florida Panthers. After last night, I'm convinced now that I'm changing my prediction. I'm changing my prediction as of right now, and I hope my Auntie Judy's watching this. I don't think she is. But I got the Vegas Golden Knights winning in 4. I don't see Florida winning this series. I think Vegas at this point has got their schemes figured out at this point. Florida's not that good. I mean, for a team that's got a power point, and for a team that was really good going into the Stanley Cup at this point, had a hot streak going on at the right time, they've cooled off really quick. And it's gotten to a point now where they've been good at power play killing Florida. Vegas has completely annihilated them at the power play position. They have annihilated this team. But I got to say, for Bruce Cassidy, good for him. At this point, I kind of want to see now if Bruce Cassidy can actually pull it off now, just so he can stick it to Boston at this point. Like, hey, why did you fire me? You fired me because you got a guy who was going to retire the following year. You chose a Boston Bruin legend, who is a legend in the game. There's no question about it, as far as Boston Bruin standards. But to take that over a coach who was trying to motivate them at this point, and to take over 2 players that were one who just recently retired before last season even started, or this past season even started, and then to take one now who just retired in the first round after they lost, after being up 3-1. in this series and had the worst performance of any team in the entire playoff run. I don't know. To me, that's just laughable at this point to look at that and say that just happened. Jonathan Marchand had a power play goal early in the first period. Alex Martinez answered with another goal in the first period, made it 2-0. Nicholas Roy got a shot in the second period. Brett Howden got a backhanded shot, made it 4-0. Antoine Lundell got a goal for Florida Panthers. Marshall got basically got a shot in. Let me just do this really quickly here because I think my mom just interrupted my thing here. Anyway, back to what I was saying before. Marshall got a goal, made it 5-1. Michael Amadeo got the snapshot, made it 6-1. Matthew Tatar finally got a goal in this series. Didn't really matter. It was late in the third period. And the power play blow, Brett Howden got the assist from Amadeo, and William Carrier made it 7-2. Knights got the win 7-2. There was no other way of looking at it. This was, as far as the domination factor went in this game was already over by the second period. They had no answer for Vegas anyway to begin with. Marshall is a hard player to play against. There's no other way of looking at it. And I think when you look at how dominant that team really is, they are dominant. Florida at this point can't outplay them. Vegas has got more heart. They got more mental toughness here. They got more grit to last in this series. Florida's all done. I don't even think Jack Eichel was even a factor here for this team to even need this guy. Jack Eichel doesn't really do much. I mean, if you kind of think about it, really, I mean, if you had to look at the box score here, really what it's all about, and I'll give you the players right now from last night, it's you got 2 assists from Eichel. That was really about it. Eichel really hasn't done much, I think, as far as been talked about more in this playoffs. Marshall was talked about more. Stone was talked about more. You got McNabb, you got Protegolo, you got White Cloud. They were more talked about here. And you got Roy. I mean, Eichel throughout this entire season, up to this point, look at this 2022-2023 year, 27 goals, 39 assists. I mean, that's 66 points. Not bad. Ain't great, but not bad. It's a difference maker right there. It's a good center for you to have. I to get punked out by Matthew Tatak, though, in the end, I just look at that and go, Played 19 games for the Golden Knights in this playoffs. He had 6 goals, 16 assists, which is actually pretty good. He's plus 13, which is great. Penalty minutes, he's had 12 minutes right now. He's had 19 minutes on the ice. He's had 6 penalties, which 6 minor ones at best. He's part of 425 shifts at this point. He's had 3 power play goals. Has Eichel been the MVP this series? I don't think he has. Look at the regular season as far as that gone at this point. I mean, he's played 67 games this year. I mean, to play 67 games and have 27 goals out of it. I mean, and to be plus 26, it's awesome. We need to have more of that in the postseason here because I feel like he's not done much this postseason here. Eichel has been a part of a few games or so that were huge, but Marshall and Stone have been the MVPs in this series. They have been at this point. Let me just clap the light on here to see what the hell I'm doing. There we go. It's a little bright in here. I'm just going to take that laptop away from the brightness of that if I can. And I can't. That's the problem with this lighting in here. As it's now starting to rain outside, I'm kind of glad I decided not to go to the gym today. Anyway. Actually, let me shut that light off to get the gleam out of that. There we go. So that was that. I look at Eichel right now at this point. I say to myself, you know what? Eichel was a good center to have on his team, but if I look at it right now at this point, as far as is Eichel invested on being part of the Vegas Golden Knights, I think he is. I mean, 19 games played, and he has 6 goals at this point. Which, I mean, to play 19, I mean, you got to have at least 12 or 13 goals here. I don't know. To me, like, I mean, you got 22 points, which is excellent at this point with the assist and everything else in the time on the ice. But when you have at least 20 minutes on the ice at this point, that gives you enough points to be in the court as it is. I mean, let's look at the playoff series in of itself. I mean, the first round of itself kind of told the story here. I mean, you had 3 goals in a Winnipeg series, which you won in 5 games. Edmonton, you had, let's see, 3 goals there, but they weren't consistent. Did nothing in the Dallas series. And so far, you did nothing in the Florida series. You pretty much did more between the Edmonton and the Winnipeg series, and he's come out flat in these last 2 series games. And Eichel here has been a non-factor for this team anyway. You're talking about a guy who's a strong center, who's considered one of the better setters in the game, and he's done nothing in the series so far. He's not really needed. Like if Eichel was knocked out these next 2 games and didn't have to play, I don't think it would really matter. Now would it? So I don't know. To me, that's just me. You know, I could just be like one of these people right now that's too negative here, but I just feel like that would be the turning point here. Well, I was going to get into NFL news, but I might as well get this Red Sox right out of the way. The Red Sox lost 3 out of 4 yesterday to the Tampa Bay Rays. Actually, I might as well give you the rest of the MLB scores while I'm at it from yesterday. After the disappointing 4-game series that the Red Sox played yesterday. I'll give you before I get into that, let me give you the scores from yesterday. 8-3 Phillies beat the Detroit Tigers. Padres shut out the Cubs 5-0. I think that's an even series now at this point. Astros beat the Blue Jays 11-4. I'm pretty sure Houston won this series 3 out of 4. Miami Marlins won the series over Kansas City. Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Oakland Marlins beat the Royals 9-6. Pirates beat the A's 5-4. Reds shut out the Brewers 2-0. Rangers beat the Cardinals 4-3. That was all the games that were on last night. But I want to get into the Red Sox for just a second. McClellan, by the way, who got his 9th win. And the errors over the weekend with Wrong throwing out the center field and allowing that runner to score. Basically have an inside the park home run and a throwing error. Like that was pretty bad. A lot of bad throwing errors yesterday. They have 24 throwing errors. That leads to lead, by the way. They have 40 errors overall. That's second in the league. That is pathetic if you're a Red Sox team at this point. Absolutely pathetic. And honestly, at this point, we got Alex Cora basically calling for Shine Bloom's job at this point. You know this is bad. You know this is not going to end well for you at all. And I said before, and I'll say it again. Why did these 2 guys come back? I don't know. I don't know why they came back at this point. They both disdain one another. That's pretty obvious. And this is from an ownership at this point that stopped caring. They have stopped caring. They want to have a farm league system that basically fails every year, that finishes in the last place every year because they look at it and it's interesting drama for us, when in reality it's a nightmare. So shut the hell up about that bull crap. Awful. Awful as far as I'm concerned. I think it's absolutely ridiculous at this point that we have an ownership at this point that could give 2 flying craps about Boston sports. So it seems like to me. He seems like John Henry and Tom Warner have checked out of Boston at this point. They have completely checked out of Fenway. And if they have, then sell the team. Bye. No one here is going to miss you. They can find any owner at this point that is motivated enough to turn the team around. Believe me, they've watched your tapes. They know they can do it again here in 2023. It's not that hard. You guys make it so hard for yourselves because they don't want people to think that you're a cheapskate, only pining to the fact right now that you have 2 mortgages right now on your townhouses. Tom Warner, who basically just has the excuse at this point to save money to basically go to Patriot games and go to freaking Celtic games. And the reality of it is at this point, he's got like the 7 wives lifestyle, probably. Who the hell knows? But I've seen Tom Warner go to more Celtic games, more Patriot games, than he actually is seen at Red Sox games. That is a guy who is a fanboy at this point and not a real working owner. He has taken himself out from the old blue-collar working class and basically got greedy in the end. And at the end of the day, it's rubbed up on John Henry in the worst way because he don't really care about Boston sports, period. You're not going to see him at a Celtic game. You're not going to see him at a Patriot game. He doesn't even go to his own Red Sox games. In fact, half the time, he's never even in his front office. That is a careless front office person running that team. And they should sell the team if they're not motivated to care enough to try. Making the general manager job a revolving door, making the managerial job a revolving door. Basically having Alex Cora chase the Twinkie around all just for him to get basically have no power, no hearsay, and make him look like a dunce of a manager. Why? To punish him for all his bullcrap in Houston with the cheating scandals. Because they can't let it go. They're making this guy look like a chump and no one wants anything to do with him. That's pretty sad. Detroit's doing the exact same thing right now with whatever, I forget the manager's name now off the top of my head at this point, but the Houston Astro manager, the ex-Astro manager, same thing. So this is no difference at this point. It shouldn't be that surprising at all that this is happening. Shouldn't be surprising to anybody, really. To anybody, really. We got some NFL news we got to get into. Dalvin Cook, rumors have been flying around. He was nearly a Dolphin back in March, where the Vikings are about to cut him. He was nearly traded to Miami back in March. I'm just trying to figure out why they didn't pull the trade out and what the hell was Miami not willing to give up. Was the package too big at this point? Were they willing to give up Bradley Chubb's contract? Is that what they want in the end? Because they already let Zadarius Smith go. They wanted another former Viking there? Or another Bronco, former Bronco there? Is the idea at this point to get Jalen Ramsey, who they just traded for? Because they know that they're in desperate need of defense. If that's really the only reason why Dalvin Cook has not been traded yet at this point, which, by the way, you're trading a contract at this point and making it somebody else's problem. That's how the NFL works. There's no salary cap here. There's no other teams paying for your contract. Not as much anyway. But just the idea at this point, if the whole payoff is to try to get Bradley Chubb to come in, first of all, you have no cap space to do that if you're Minnesota anyway. Just like you have no cap space now. This is why you want to cut Dalvin Cook now. The problem is you're better off trading him and splitting the contract down 75-25. But does Miami have that cap space? I don't think they do. You got Tyreek Hill's contract, you got Bradley Chubb's contract, and now you got Ramsey's contract. That's a big no-no. Then you got Jalen Waddle, and then you got Tua Tagovailoa. A lot of contract issues. It's not good. I think Dalvin Cook should have been a Miami Dolphin by now anyway. I've been saying this from day one. Pontiac from day one. I want to see a Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry matchup every week on the AFC East at this point, and I'm not even a Buffalo Bill fan. Although I am a little bit. I am starting to be a fanboy of Buffalo, even though this year I don't even have them winning the Super Bowl this year. Because I'm done betting on them winning the Super Bowl. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's how I look at it. It ain't going to be a third time. The NFL is investigating on an unnamed Colt player, possibly for violation for the league's gambling policy. They're saying it's going to possibly be the wideout Isaiah Rodgers. They have not let out any punishments just yet, but he could miss up the entire season if it does come out. At this point, it may come down to the choice of what to do in this situation. Although the only reason why they're saying it's unnamed, apparently, from this standpoint, is because Jim Irsay could just be right in the middle of it too, as well. Which is why he doesn't want to name his player, which is why he doesn't want to put himself in the whole thing. Jim Irsay is the most corrupt owner there is in the NFL. The fact that at this point, Irsay at this point, who's not worse than Dan Snyder, Irsay's got drug problems. He's a raging alcoholic. He's a hornbag at best. And it went from a player being named yesterday to now a player that's not named. Because, by the way, that story I posted in my Facebook feed changed the whole article. It may have even changed the whole story. I don't know. But despite all that, the Colts signed wide receiver Brashad Perriman, the former Buccaneer, I think he was a former Falcon, I believe, too. I want to say. So it looks like Brashad Perriman at this point will be playing with Anthony Richardson in 2023. I don't know how good Indy's going to be this year. They might be a 6-11 team, 7-10. Who the hell knows? Who really knows? Frank Clark signing a 2-year, $27 million deal. He was given a new Uzi S as a signing bonus since he didn't need a parole officer, as he's already had one assigned him for years via Adam Schefter. I'm not even sure this is even a real story. Oh, this is Chiefs Kingdom memes. Okay, so forget that story. So Frank Clark is not going with the Las Vegas Raiders. That was just a meme at this point. Boy, was I fooled in that story. That was not an official story. That's one less story I talk about now at this point. Let me just delete that from my post at this point because I really don't know why I didn't just move this in the trash earlier. See? I realized I diagnosed the problem. Too many stupid people. Anyway, Bills add linebacker Leonard Floyd, former teammate of Von Miller, for part of the Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl winning team in 21-22 NFL season. He agreed to a one-year deal. Great on Buffalo said at this point. Leonard Floyd, I got to say, without Von Miller, didn't really shine in L.A. Aaron Donald didn't really help him either. Buffalo's getting a lot better defensively at this point. I'll believe it when I see it when they do win a Super Bowl championship. I'm just saying, I'm not holding my breath on this one. They did get the okay, though, by the NFL, though, to have their new stadium at this point put in. They now have the plans already set at this point. It's already set in stone. They are now, the project is worth $1.554 billion. That's what the worth is for that contract, for that to play out. That's awesome, by the way. Longtime member of the Green Bay Packers franchise passed away over the weekend at the age of 79 years old. This is according to The Spun, Sports Illustrated. Unfortunately, Jesse Kay, one of their former employees, had passed away on Saturday at a healthcare facility in Green Bay. He was at the age of 79. So condolences goes out to the friends and family for Jim Kay. During his impressive NFL career, Kay is known for being one of the few people to like Tom Brady coming out of Michigan. Brady, a sixth-round draft pick, became the greatest quarterback in NFL history, which we already know that. Overall, Kay made strong impacts for the Packers, New York Jets, and Pittsburgh Steelers organization after being trusted in several roles. Kay was hired by the Green Bay Packers back in May of 1989 to perform double duty as a pro scout and player personnel and an administrative assistant to coach Lindy Infante, actually. In his role as scout, Kay replaced Bert Gustafson and answered to Vice President of Football Operations, Tom Bratz. After his first year, Kay also assisted Bratz with contract negotiations. Kay retired from the Jets in 2014. Prior to joining the Packers, he scouted for the BLESTO Combine and the Pittsburgh Steelers from 1986 to 1989. So a lot goes out there right now. Heart and soul of that. Probably more remembered for the Green Bay Packers more than anything else. Around the Jets for a long time, too. Family, friends, colleagues, acquaintances. My heart goes out to you. I am deeply sorry for your loss. I really am. Norma Hunt, the matriarch of the Kansas City Chiefs, passed away on this was on Sunday. That she passed away. Norma Hunt, who was the wife of the late Kansas City Chiefs founder Lamar Hunt, attended all 57 Super Bowl games, passed away. Hunt and family announced in a statement released by the team. She was 85 years old. No cause of death was given. This is what the NFL had to say about this. She was, quote, kind, generous, and unfailing positive mom, was one of a kind. The Hunts said in their statement, her joy and zeal for life were infectious. She loved caring for others, and she always had an encouraging word. She was a loyal friend, the consummate hostess, and she had a rare ability to make everyone encounter feel valued and at ease. Mom was steadfastly devoted to her family and fiercely passionate about her family's sports team. She was by our father Lamar's side every step of the way from the merger of the AFL and the NFL to the formation of the Major League Soccer, World Championship Tennis, the North American Soccer League, and their founding investment in the Chicago Bulls. She was the only person we knew who rivaled his love of sports. The two of them found such joy together. whether at home or in stadium stands around the world. Chiefs stars quarterback Patrick Mahomes, a.k.a. the next guy to break Tom Brady's greatness, tweeted and said, quote, "Miss Norma was the best. Glad to be part of this special organization she helped build. She will be missed. Prayers to the entire Hunt family." In a statement released by the NFL, Commissioner Roger Goodell said he had known Hunt for nearly 40 years and that he was always struck by her warmth and grace. Norma's sense of family extended to the Chiefs organization, which she greatly adored, the statement read. Norma was one of the most passionate fans of the Chiefs and the NFL and understood and enjoyed every aspect of the game. She loved being around the team and referred to the players as real-life superheroes. Norma attended every Super Bowl ever played, including the 2 recent Chiefs victories, and was the only woman to do so. Lamar Hunt passed away, by the way, in 2006. Their son, Clark, has been the chairman of the Chiefs ever since. So, heaven just received a sweet angel in Norma Hunt. And it's very sad that she passed away. The NFL lost a great owner, a great pioneer for females out there that did NFL work. So sad to watch her pass away at this point. And she is a smart woman. This woman knows her sports. So, very sad to hear that she passed away. Very sad. ESPN may fire Hall of Fame quarterback Steve Young, along with the possible layoff of Susie Colbert. I needed to bring this up because I think this is ridiculous at this point. The Pat McAfee contract, 5 years, $85 million. Stephen A. Smith said he don't give a damn how much he makes. I don't give a damn how much he makes, is what he was saying in that report. I'm looking at this as an ESPN mistake, because if they let pioneers of, as far as ESPN on NFL Primetime and NFL Live, letting those people go would be a mistake. Because I don't think Shannon Sharp's going to want to go to ESPN because A, they can't afford him, and B, it would be very odd as far as the trio of characters, because there's no telling what would happen. There's no telling what would happen now going forward with that in that regard. There's no telling at this point of what would happen now going forward here. So again, anything could happen here, but as far as who gets fired next, but I can give you the list of firings right now at this point that ESPN may get rid of: Bart Scott, Rex Ryan. I don't think Berman's going to go anywhere, although Berman might. I don't even know if Berman's even still there. Randy Moss might be going, although Moss may be. Is Moss on Fox? I don't even know. I know Woodson's on Fox as well. I think Moss might be on Fox already. There's not a lot left in the NFL as far as that goes. I mean, Pat McAfee's crew might take over NFL Live. Who knows? But you got to have Steve Young and Susie Colbert stick around there. Otherwise, it's a mistake. Pat McAfee's crew does not need to go there. Pat McAfee show is his show, but the crew does not need to be there. Although it would be interesting to see that show in ESPN at this point with their non-filtered personality. That would be nice. But I think if Susie Colbert and Steve Young go, and Stephen A. Smith starts to go, and Keyshawn Johnson goes, which I think he's going to be the next one to go, I think, too. Louis Riddick might go. Darren Orlovsky might be the one that ends up going, because there was a lot of controversy with him and Pat McAfee's show. There could be some bad blood there. All could be possible. Oh, sorry, I'm just choking right now on my phlegm at this point. I did get over my sickness, by the way. Just FYI, even though my nose right now is a little jammed up, surprisingly. Not as jammed up as it normally is. I sort of got rid of this cold. Sort of is a key word here. But yeah, otherwise, I'd be surprised at this point if they if they let him go. That would be devastating. As far as Susie Colbert, they cannot let go. I mean, if they let her walk and she goes, let's say to CBS, whatever, CBS would be once again the most watched NFL pregame show, and I think realistically CBS should be one. They should have a 3-hour show. They're just as good as the NFL Network is. The NFL Network is 5 hours, and it's way too long. ESPN should have never got a 3 hours because it was hard to watch as it is. And Susie Colbert was never on there anyway. They had Samantha, the Samantha chick on there, which don't get me wrong, she's good. She's no Susie Colbert, though. So that would be a mistake to let her go. Toronto Blue Jays demote Alex Manoah, former Cy Young Award winner at this point, after his devastating struggling this season. Patriots OTAs today. Christian Gonzalez was excellent today. This is according to CBS Sports. Damar Hamlin fully participated in team drills for the first time since his cardiac arrest in January. Congrats to Damar Hamlin. He is definitely going to be ready to play football in 2023, and he'll be a unanimous comeback player of the year. After what he had to go through just to basically stay alive and not die playing that sport. And for him to come back the next year and just play a whole season all over again like nothing happened, that's amazing. That is amazing. Ivan Provorov has been traded from the Flyers to the Blue Jackets as part of a 3-team deal. This is according to CBS Sports. I just got this as we're talking here. Flyers are embarking on under new general manager Danny Bribe. As part of a 3-team deal with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Los Angeles Kings, the Flyers are trading defenseman Ivan Provorov to the Blue Jackets. In return, the Flyers are receiving a goaltender, Cal Peterson, defenseman Sean Walker, defenseman Helgi Grands, a 2023 first-round pick, number 22 overall, a second-round draft pick from the Kings. The Blue Jackets are also sending additional second-round draft choice for 2024 or 2025 to the Flyers as part of the deal. Flyers minor league defenseman Kevin Connaughton will be heading to the Blue Jackets, while the Kings will receive winger Hayden Hodgson from the Flyers as part of the trade. In addition, the Kings will retain 30% of Provorov's contract, which is kind of weird. I don't know why they're paying 30% of that contract, but whatever. Kind of an odd trade. And 2-time Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom will be undergoing Tommy John surgery to repair ulnar collateral ligament tear. By the way, is Jacob deGrom, by the way, with the Texas Rangers this year? I'm just getting confused. I know Noah Syndergaard think about retirement because of a horrible performance he had last week. And yes, he is part of the Texas Rangers. Here's my prediction for by the end of the year, both deGrom and Noah Syndergaard both retire. These guys just can't stay healthy. deGrom at this point is already hurting himself 2 months into the season. Come on. That's not good news for Texas either, by the way, as far as their playoff chances go. That might actually hurt their playoff chances in a deep run here if they got to run to Houston later on in the year. Just saying. Although Houston's not that great this year anyway either. So that right there is another issue in of itself. Albert Pujos, working in the Dominican Republic as a consultant for the Major League Baseball. That was announced today on CBS Sports. Rob Manfred was the one who made the hiring and the choice here. Good choice for someone who's from the Dominican Republic. Albert Pujols is. I mean, he's more well known there. Ortiz is, I think could have had that position had he not had a hit out of him, put out on him in Dominican Republic. I think that's what it was. Or wasn't Dominican Republic that Ortiz was had a hitman going after him? I can't remember what it was. But anyway, good choice for Rob Manfred at this point. Madden cover 2024 in the process of being chosen at this point. I pick out Jalen Hurts just because it makes sense here. Mahomes is already on the cover. Allen at this point, I think, had a lackluster year last year. Hurts had an MVP MVP type year. You got Joe Burrow, who hasn't been on there just yet. But anything's possible. I think Burrow will be on in 2025. I think Jalen Hurts will be on in 2024. Burrow had an MVP type of year too behind Mahomes, but Mahomes has already been on the cover at least once or twice now. Just saying. So, at this point, does he really need to be on the cover again? At this point, I don't know. Now let's get to the some good news here. Although we got some more golf news actually before I get into this one. PGA Tour, LIV, and DP World Tour announced a merge and stunning move to unify the game of the Golf Game League. Fantastic news, by the way. At this point, LIV Golf anyway, and the whole thing. I don't know if LIV Golf was bought out by PGA Tour at this point by the Saudi Arabian people to partner up with this whole thing. This is according to CBS Sports. This is a shocking historic move for the PGA Tour, DP World, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund has agreed to a merger that will see the PIF Golf-related business, LIV Golf, combined with other tours in what is being described as a new collectively owned for-profit entirely to ensure that all stakeholder benefits from a model that delivers maximum excitement, competition among the game's best players. If only our government system could do this with politics and oil. From Venezuela to Saudi Arabia to Iraq to all that, Middle East. It doesn't take much. You come up with compromises here, it solves the world's problems. Now we're just being hateful towards other countries now because of our government system being this stupid. While sport owners can get it right. Sport owners, I think, in my opinion, would be great at politics because they know what the hell they're talking about. As far as government officials go, they're idiots. I think this is great for a game of golf. You got people out there who are not part of, terrorist attack people right now who want to blow up America, who want to come to our country and, respect our culture and stuff like that and play golf. I like it. And you got players who now cannot be, they had to do this anyway because they were losing players from the PGA anyway. And all the other day was that they were offering more to play. They're still playing America. By the way, they're not playing Saudi Arabia, where at this point, Saudi Arabia doesn't even like Americans. So they're keeping us out, but having their league play here, which makes sense here. Not set up for failure. But anyway, this is good for golf as far as any of that goes. It's really good for golf. Got some NBA news. Sam Cassel is back with the Boston Celtics, and it seems like Rajon Rondo is going to join him with them. There's been rumoring about that. Brad Stevens is retaining Joe Mazzulla at head coach. Stevens believes they give them the best chance of winning at this point. He likes Mazzulla at head coach. Rajon Rondo at coaching, I don't know if that's ever going to work out. I think there's a flaw with him. I don't know if he's a coach material type of guy. I can't imagine him being a head coach someday in the NBA. So this kind of surprised me. It really did. I really did not see this coming. So that's just that. It's surprising. Phoenix Suns are adding David Fizdale, the former Memphis Grizzly and former New York Knicks head coach, as part of the coaching staff for Frank Vogel's team. Very interesting choice, by the way, for David Fizdale at this point to join up with Frank Vogel, who, by the way, was on the Lakers staff in 2020, went to the NBA Finals, and he won a championship with the guy. Now he's back with his old partner in crime in Phoenix. And that could be a real lead up to something here. I don't know. It is what it is. Former Giants manager, three-time World Series champ Roger Craig died at age of 93. That was according to CBS Sports. Again, condolences goes out to friends and family for him. Very sad he passed away. Skip Bayliss looking for a replacement for Shannon Sharp at this point. Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins, Nick Wright. I think, oh God, who was on this list? I can't remember who was on the list here. I know somebody else on that list as well. Sean Salisbury, Chad Johnson, Chris Dog Russo, Tom Brady, Ray Lewis, Brian Dawkins, Scottie Pippen, Marcellus Wiley on this list as well. Tom Brady's at a plus 1,500. Here's my opinion on this whole thing. I don't think this is ever going to happen. I think Skip Bayless is going to get removed from Fox because they know they're overpaying him. And Tom Brady's got a contract with Fox to broadcast football games. He could do other things as well to earn that money. It could be with the undisputed. But I think you take away Skip Bayliss and you put Nick Wright in there with Rob Gronkowski, or you put Sean Salisbury in there with Tom Brady. The guy's got to learn how to be a guy that takes shots at people. This is how you get in the communication business, buddy. You got to do it this way. Brian Dawkins, I think, will be great at this. Scottie Pippen, I think at this point he's way too far gone. I don't know how he's above Tom Brady, though, in any way, shape, or form. Chris Mad Dog Russo, I think, and Sean Salisbury and Chris Mad Dog Russo would be a great pairing, I think. But I think Brady, you got Brady and Gronk on there on that show on Fox. That'd be interesting to watch. Like I said before, I'll say it again. That should happen. That really should happen. Brady and Gronk on Fox. That'd be awesome to watch right now. Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, and Pat McAfee on First Take. I mentioned that in my when I wrote this in my feed. That would be an interesting TV drawing for as far as talk show host goes, as far as radio goes and podcasting goes. That'd be an interesting, strong channel hunting here for FS1 and ESPN. I think a lot of people would be into that. A lot of people would enjoy that really more than anything else. As far as entertainment value goes. We got Kyrie Irving trying to recruit LeBron James to the Dallas Mavericks to join him. I guess Irving does not want to leave the Dallas Mavericks. I look at it like this. Kyrie should go to Phoenix at this point. You get Chris Paul out of Phoenix. You send him down to Dallas with LeBron. You have a Dallas Mavericks Phoenix Suns Western Conference Finals matchup in the near future. I don't know if that ever happens or not. And another way of looking at it is you got Luka going to LA as part of the trade here for LeBron James. And look, Luka and Bronny James someday. That could be an awesome pairing at this point. I'm invested into that pairing in of itself than Luka and LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. By the way, Kyrie, who's not the same Kyrie, you don't want to show up to work in one of these days. It's just I don't know about this deal. This has me shaking my head. But if he's playing with Kevin Durant, he'll show up to work. If Kevin Durant's motivated to play one night, he'll play. If he's not, and Kyrie's not, you get what you get. The same thing goes for LeBron James with rest management here. I don't know if this is a set deal here. Are we gonna get LeBron James that plays all 82 games in 2023? I don't know. I have my concerns about this. I have my reservations on this one at this point. I have my doubts. Is Brian James at this point going to go to Dallas, Texas? I don't know if that's going to happen. Does Mark Cuban want him? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Be a hell of a story. Be a hell of an offseason for the NBA as far as what the NBA wants to do. Do I think it happens? I have my doubts. I really do have my doubts at this point. I don't know if that's going to work out in Dallas. I don't think it's going to. And LeBron, who already signed a deal with the Lakers, he's got to obligate that deal. At this point, it's just that 1 year of that deal. He's got 2 years left of that contract at this point. It could happen this year. It could happen 2 years after that contract comes to an end. LeBron could probably retire as a Dallas Maverick and get his jersey retired as a Dallas Maverick. Could go out winning a championship in Texas. That could be the way he goes. Do I see that happening? I don't think he's going to retire there. If anything, I think LeBron would go back to Cleveland first before going to Dallas. That's my opinion. And look, I mean, a lot of people are going to look at me and say, well, why is Cleveland so special? Here's the thing. You got Donovan Mitchell already there. LeBron James is there. And possibly, let's say Chris Paul doesn't want to go to Dallas. He wants to go to Cleveland and play with guys like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and LeBron can play power forward. As much as people want to hate the idea of that at this point, you're not training the whole farm system. You're getting the guy of a free agency at this point. He void out the contract. You get him on a cheap deal. Nice return story to Cleveland again. Back, LeBron Cleveland 3 is what this really would be at this point. That's all it would be at this point. I like the idea of Chris Paul going to Cleveland because at the end of the day, it makes a difference. You got Darius Garland at this point, who's a shooting guard at this point. You got Chris Paul as your point guard. You go either way with LeBron. You can be a small forward or a power forward here. You put him in the power forward. They can shoot the three. And I say bring in Anthony Davis. I think Jared Allen's a waste of space in that team. And if you don't want to bring him in, bring in Karl Anthony Towns. That Western Conference Finals possibility, though. Does LeBron really would LeBron rather go back to Cleveland than play in Dallas? Would LeBron James want his son to go play in Cleveland? There's a lot of variables that come into play here with that idea. I just can't imagine that deal happening without the son being involved. Because he doesn't want to play with his son. That's the thing. We don't know when LeBron James' son is going to get drafted in the NBA. He could get drafted in 2024. He can get drafted in 2025. The main story is that 2025 is the last year of that deal. And I don't even know if this is a fake news story or not with Kyrie. Does Kyrie really want to stay in Dallas? Does he want to go play in LA? But the question is, does he want to go back in Cleveland and play with LeBron and play with Anthony Davis in Cleveland with LeBron James' son going to Cleveland, going back to where he started growing up in Akron, Ohio? I mean, really, there's a lot on the table with this whole thing. This is a loaded question. Is Bronny James more valuable in the big state of Texas or back in Akron, Ohio one more time? We get Bronny 2 in Akron, Ohio. We get LeBron 3. And it's just the return of Cleveland just sounds more realistic. Him and Kyrie at this point, look, it never happened. Kyrie, as much as he wanted to go to LA at this point, LA did not want him. LA did not want him. LeBron was happy with the talent that he had on that team. In fact, right now, I think in order for LeBron to want to go to Dallas, Kyrie has to go. Chris Paul, Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis has to go to Dallas. He's taking players with him if he's going to go to Dallas. He's taking his son with him if he's going to Dallas. That's it. There's no other way of looking at it. And think about it this way. LeBron James, his son, would have to transfer from USC to Texas. You create a Texas USC national championship rivalry story right there. That writes itself right there for college sports. And we had a Texas USC kind of controversy type of feel since the Trojans cheated with Reggie Bush's scholarship back in 2005 when they almost won the national championship. That's big news. As far as how that's going to play out, I really don't know how that's going to play out. I really don't know. But LeBron James' son to get transferred from USC to Texas here, to be a Texas Longhorn instead, that'd be huge news. LeBron James' son basically copying LeBron himself early in college, getting the idea of it now when he's in college before getting in the NBA. That's how you got to look at it. That's how you got to look at this from this standpoint. Bronny James is going to be playing either with his father or against his father. And I can't see it being against his father, especially now where he's made it abundantly clear that he wants to play with his kid. Bronny, we don't even know what he wants. We haven't even heard him say whether or not he wants to play against his father. Can his father play with him? Is he good enough to play with his father? If he screws up, does he get disciplined by his father? Or does he get the it's okay treatment? Or does he get disciplined by the ownership? When you have family in business, it does not tend to go well. Let's just put it that way. It's not a good fit. It really isn't. I'll probably just end it with the Kenny Smith story, and I'll probably preview tonight's sporting events that are on tonight. There's not much on tonight. Kenny Smith made a wild claim about Bronny James, by the way. Just FYI. That's what he did. He made a claim about his kid. Bronny James will make his USC debut against Kansas State on November 6th. USC has gone all in on their best recruiting class in years. A price hike on tickets and a preseason tour of Europe are both things being implemented ahead of their NCAA debut. With Collar and James on board, USC could see their first Final Four appearance since the 1950s. Alongside James, USC is also bringing number one recruit Isaiah Collar. By the way, this was written by Ben Mock on Hot New Hip Hop. By the way, I like that for a TV show name. That's one right there. There's another one I heard of today. 1-800-BUN BOY today, and actually it was I guess it was a weird story about my coworker. It's another story for another day, but that's a good name for a show and a podcast at the same time. Last year USC went 22-11. That earned them a 10 seed in March Madness. However, they were eliminated in the first round by Michigan State. Meanwhile, LeBron James's Bronny's father is about to enter his 21st NBA season, despite contemplating retirement early in the offseason. Sources are confident that LeBron will return to the Lakers next season. LeBron has been very insistent that he doesn't want to retire before he gets the chance to play alongside Bronny. However, former NBA star Kenny Smith has been something of a wet blanket in regards to Bronny making to the NBA. Kenny Smith speaks to Bronny's improbable NBA chances, calling Bronny James improbable. Smith expanded on his wild take. 75 years of basketball, big. There's only been 5,100 players that touched the floor, Smith said on Big Boy TV. He continues, so to be waiting on your son to be one of the 51, that doesn't even make sense. Like, he's not waiting on his son. He's wishing his son will make it. I will say this. It's not that wild to think about. Bronny James at this point was recruited by USC because of the attraction of LeBron James himself, not his play. Until Bronny James has a game where he throws up 50 points for USC, I'll be impressed. I haven't seen one game of. I mean, maybe he's done it in these little street ball here on the courts and in the outskirts of basketball courts, but it's different with professional basketball and street ball. There's a difference there. He's not wrong for thinking it. Smith's take is valid, according to this report. A little pessimistic is what they're saying. James is currently ranked as the 19th prospect in the 2023 recruiting class. He's not even in the top 15. He's probably in the top 20 at best, barely. I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James' son wasn't drafted by the Lakers. That's when you know then LeBron is going to retire and just walk out after that NBA draft. I can see this coming. If Bronny James is not getting drafted to play with his father, then that's it. I don't see how LeBron James even plays or even wants to play, even has the motivation to even have a good season. If Bronny gets the best of his father in the end and wins more championships, we're going to have a Bronny-Michael Jordan debate. That's where the debate's going to end up going. And that's just even if LeBron's son's even good. We haven't even seen this guy, as far as averaging goes, he averages more assists than points half the time. This is a kid at this point that needs to establish himself from the word go. USC is that school to do it. Texas is too big for him because they got a lot more talent now, and they can't afford to lose LeBron's son, USC. They can't afford it. All the investment, all the touring, whatever they've done in the preseason, they can't afford to lose him. So that's a big no-no at this point. If they do end up losing him, that's just downright dumb. It is. It's just downright dumb. And that's pretty much it. I think I've got this pretty much covered. You can follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I do have my Bleacher Report back. Ironically enough, I do. I don't even know if it even took out the extra charge, by the way, for that freaking pay-per-view, which it probably already did by now. If it didn't, I'll be shocked. That's pretty much it. I do have Bleacher Report back, so we will have my NFL hot takes for 2023. That's what I'm going to use Bleacher Report for. I'm not going to use it for any other sports besides that. So yeah, you're going to see me on more NFL content for that channel. That will just be purely football on that content. Other than that, that's it. The show this week will be on Friday, Saturday again. This time, I promise it will be on those 2 days. I cannot stress enough, and I might even do this on a Sunday as well, just FYI. I love this podcast now at this point. I'm going to keep doing it the way I want to do it here. Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a good format. Wednesday, Thursday, there's not really much going on. Mondays is just a start of the week. It might be an everyday thing going forward for me. I haven't really thought about doing it every day at this point. I was only liking doing it on 2 days a week. If I have a co-host, I mean, at this point, it may be a little bit different. I may not do it as much. If I don't, you may see me every day. Hope you enjoy me as much. Thanks for watching my show. Thanks for subscribing. I'm out of here. Good night, guys. See you Friday and Saturday.